Okay, folks, welcome back. Yeah, I know it's probably too early for you guys, but it is what it is. I had an opportunity to go online, so let's take it. Let's get on with it. So we're just going to do the final kind of touch-ups here on these T34s before we go and spray them tomorrow, before we go and seal them. And let me get some of these colors out of here, even though they'll probably end up coming right back to some degree or another. Well, I don't. No, this one I'm not. That one I'm not putting away. We're about to grab that one in a moment. Oh, some of my italics are all like misbehaving and wanting to fall down and stuff. All right. Leave this one out, but decided we're gonna bring that up from retirement and use that for colors that we've used recently. All right, so these two 334 76 model 40s, they've already been sealed. They just need a base on them. And this one has a base, but we decided to blackline it because we weren't doing that at the time. And that should be complete. But this one hasn't been blacklined at all. And I want to look over these to make sure that I haven't missed anything on it. On that. And then we'll worry about putting some of these packs on here. And we'll see if anybody shows up to interact with. That's always the secret to how successful we're going to be. And unfortunately, it's going to be probably a loud session because I got a 3-pack of, I was going to say adolescent girls, but young adults watching TV in the other room. So that's the only complaint I have about this place is it doesn't have a really good shut door. Okay. So if you just keep me talking, maybe I could smother out whatever that sound is. I noticed that there was a couple little stuff that I had missed on one of these T34s. So let me take a moment to look them over and make sure that we've got all this everywhere we want it to. See if anything needs to have another shade on it. I could maybe darken these vents a little bit. That's the problem when you're doing so many vehicles is it's a lot easier to miss stuff. This allows these little details to pop. And These aren't the most detailed models. Models, miniatures, castings. Castings is probably the correct thing to call them. I believe it was this one that was missing these little bolt things on the back. This looks pretty good. Very faint little weld there. These look slightly better than the other T-34s that I have because these are SHQ. And the SHQ has better detail than the Skytrax. They're also, I think SHQ is still in business. And Skytrax is too. They make different stuff. This is the Hinchcliffe Skytrax stuff. I think Skytrax just does 15 millimeters. World War II stuff. They don't make the 20s anymore. I'm sure they make other things as well. The packaging of these actually said Hinchcliffe Skytrax. Guess at some point one or the other owned the other one. So they're in cahoots together. They were. Welcome, viewer. Normally Friday night's got a pretty low turnout. Wife came home and says, "Hey, I left the car out of the garage in case you wanted it to airbrush." I'm like, "Damn it, a wasted opportunity." Nope, not right now. I'm not going to get sidetracked on that. Next thing I'll be airbrushing is sealing these guys. It's almost like a seek and find. Try to find the parts that need black on them that don't have them. And we still have this. We still have that there, the gear. I'm dry. Why would I be wet? Huh? That one went right over my head. And we didn't get any storm effects. We didn't even lose power. The one that a couple of weeks ago was a lot closer to us. Hell, I filmed the whole night. Well, I got a notification from 2 different people that I got something on the way. What's that mean? I said, well, I got 2 things that are coming. Oh, good. I wasn't sure if you guys got hit by a storm. Nah. The other one was closer. The other one was a lot closer. I'll tell you what, when that storm got up to 180 miles an hour off the coast of the Yucatan, I was concerned. I'm like, if it's that far out, oh yeah, but it's going to slow down. It's going to hit some shear. Well, what if it doesn't? You know, it's going to cut a swath across Florida. And its trajectory kept moving down. It was looking really bad on Sunday or Monday. It was coming straight for us. But we wouldn't have stayed. We would have fucking left. You only allowed one fatal mistake. Yet visions based up, tanks landing on beaches around the globe for decades to come. Yeah, I like beaches, but I don't know. I don't know how these people do this year after year after year. You know, they live near the beach. You don't have to live on the beach, but just live within a couple of miles of the beach. You're fucked. Let's say the storm doesn't take you out or anything. You got to deal with the other humans, you know, that are just going to be unreasonable. I got this one guy on Facebook that posted today, 2nd day of no power. And then as soon as people do that, and this is the kind of stuff that I'm really intolerant about. I came really close to making a comment, but I didn't. So he makes a comment like, 2 days of no power. And then somebody, apparently a friend of his, or somebody who's a Facebook friend, not the same thing as a friend, comes in and says, yeah, well, people in North Carolina are on 2 weeks or whatever. So basically, I don't complain. Now, I wanted to reply to him, oh yeah, well, somebody just had their daughter killed in the Ukraine right now. I mean, we can do this all, we can do this all night long. You can always try to one up on something. It's like, there's people in Africa dying of starvation, Come on, man. Just ignore the dude. If you don't like what he has to say, don't come and shit on his page. We got a group here. We have a Facebook group here of the 2 little towns that I live in here. And there's always somebody who'll post something like, this storm was coming, and there's this pile of trees. I wonder when they're going to come pick up these trees that have been sitting there for like a week. And somebody says, gives them smart ass remark. I'm like, well, maybe this person doesn't want the freaking trees to fly and hit somebody else's house. There's just so much nastiness and shit like that. I don't put up with it. I don't really put anything controversial. But I have blocked people that I've never friended before. There's one person, and they do come on this page occasionally, that I know in real life. And sometimes he shoots himself in the mouth. But whatever, it's his page or whatever. And he puts things that, there's this one guy that I hope that the storm went up his ass. I mean, he lives down there somewhere. I hope he, it gave him a good old This guy needs a freaking enema. He's just absolutely terrible. I blocked him. I said, I can't see anything else this guy says. So when I ran into this guy that I know, I said, man, how do you put up with people like that? He just likes to argue. I said, you don't have to be Facebook friends with somebody, you know. You know, it's like if Ben posted something on there, every time Ben posts something on there, I'm like, hey, you should have done a better job with that. Oh, you got this wrong, whatever. You don't need to put up with that shit. Fire him. I mean, that's not as. I mean, what's the big problem with that? Okay, you don't want to feel sympathy for the guy, then just don't say anything. You know. What's much more hurtful is when you go somewhere and somebody posts a question and everybody gives them a smart ass answer. You know, like it's something wrong. It really confuses everything. You got into it with a local yokel on Facebook because I told him he couldn't run people down on a public path that crosses his field. So he has a field. There's a public path, and he thought he could run him down. Well, I think you should just stand by and just run him down when he's running somebody else down. Local yokel. Yeah. Some people just need to get their ass beat. I mean, I'm just saying it. You know, they just need to get their ass beat. They never had their ass beat. They're a keyboard commando. And you have your ass beat. I'm not saying I'm the one beating them up, you know. If I'm gonna beat somebody up, you know, I'm gonna use a stick. You know, I mean, I need my hands in good shape to be painting. Saw that one guy comment about the stars. I just scrolled by and admired the pictures. Saw that one guy commented about the stars. Oh, yeah, he's just being a smartass. I know what you're talking about. Like, come on, man, get your facts right if you're going to accuse things, you know? Again, it goes back to, you got to make these things interesting. You can't just put some green paint on them and be done with them. You know, you got to make things interesting. What's up, Marcus? How are you? Yeah, a lot of people like to cause trouble and not have their act straight. So, oh well. Or you know, main things like one guy that wouldn't let it die. I mean, you should do a 28 millimeter. I don't do 28 millimeter, and the reason I don't do 28 millimeter, it didn't exist back then. And I don't have 12 hours to paint on it to spend on a figure, and I can't spend less time, okay? Because there's brilliant people that do 28 millimeter, and I can paint to that level, but it takes time. There's nobody whose work I go, I like this better than mine. I bet they took shortcuts that I did. No. I know people, everybody that paints, that blows my painting away, take an inordinate amount of time and multiple steps. I do a lot of different steps. We could do even more, okay? But at some point, you're like, you got to say it's good enough, you know? Yeah, there's people out there just taking an inordinate amount of time. And, you know, that doesn't really matter because it doesn't matter when I get these things done. You know? They'll be done when they're done. So, this is the one that doesn't have the black lining on it yet. They're done when they're done. Some of us get rushed for a living. Is that what I do for a living? I don't know. Sure seems like the side effect of it. So I don't want to be rushed when I'm not. I don't want to be rushed while I'm getting paid. I certainly don't want to do it for free. It's unsatisfying. So I got a notification from my 3D printer that he's mailing this stuff out. He's printed the label, so we should see it early, unless it gets lost. See what I did there? I'm covered. If I tell you something's going to happen, it doesn't happen, it went against my wishes. So that should be coming next week, I would imagine. And I think the following, I ended up getting an Amazon gift card that somebody gave me, and that I was not expecting. And I'm like, well, what am I going to do with this for? Because I don't want to buy stuff. I like buying things on Amazon, but sometimes Amazon's not the best deal. So you don't want to like, well, doesn't cost me anything, but you're going to end up using more of your credit than you need to. So I decided to, I got a book, that one, because I got it used. I ordered 3 more books used. 2 of them I've been wanting for a long time. And instead of them being like $60, they were like $20 used. So hopefully they're not too beat up. But they're books that have been around a while. They're reference books. And so those will be coming as well. So I might as well order them when it's not costing me anything. Nothing extra. So I'm like, all right, well, let me get the Italy German motorcycles for the desert. Nope, they don't even have them on there right now. I'm like, okay, well, you know. Got some Battlefield Fallschirmjägers that you're painting for a friend this weekend. That camouflage, man. Well, I just haven't tried it. I haven't tried it in a long time. There's enough people doing guides and stuff that I'm pretty comfortable that I would be happy with how it turned out on the first try. All right. So all these are done enough anyways. This one now looks like shit. It just does. It does. It doesn't have the black lining on it. It just looks. This is the one of the same vintage, and it looks. I'd take a photo, but it doesn't really do it. No, I'm sorry. This is not the one that's the right vintage. It's this one. It's 300. Yeah, the stuff doesn't pop. This stuff doesn't pop. So let's make it pop. Let's make it pop. Of course, that means I'm going to want to go back and do all the other T-34s. House still standing. Yeah, not even close. We're 150 miles away. I still stand by this, and I'm not mocking the storm or anything, but I mean, I've lived here this area my whole life. This is the area that is the best for storms. It's also a pain in the ass to go to the beach. It's a 2-hour drive to go to the beach one way. Well, there's the plus side. You don't get blown away by, stuff. You just got to keep these damn trees off you. In this area, there's a whole lot of Ewoks running the place. So, I don't dislike trees. I just don't want them over my house. A 60-foot tree should be 60 feet from your house. As a matter of fact, I love the trees in the backyard. They got birds and bluebirds and stuff back there. I haven't seen bluebirds since I was a kid. All right, let's paint this bitch. And then we will go on to other things. These guys are all black lined already because we did them recently. Ooh, this got the fender all like torqued up. All right. And I actually like this process. of doing this. Let's. This has already been sealed. There's vestiges of the static brass on it because that was the last step on this thing. Okay. Cool cup. Oh, this one? It's just a Starbucks cup. Yeah. Complaint department, please take a number. Yeah, I never used it as a cup. It's my brush holder. I think I have too many brushes. So, never had a drink out of it. Never had a drink out of it. If you guys hear a bunch of girls, then that's, that my daughter and one of her roommates and one of her friends is here. Watching a movie in the other room. And only gripe about this place is I don't have a legit. I basically have like a barn door. This room is awesome. Other than that, so if there's people visiting, some of that sound seeps in. Jesus Christ, what the hell's that? Blender. Anyhow, so we started watching a movie last night. Didn't come on last night. Daughter wanted to watch a movie. I'm like, all right, I'll pick one. Of course, the worst part about watching a movie is picking a movie. I see Milton didn't sweep you away. Hope all is well here. Oh, we didn't even lose power. We didn't even get a light flicker. The other storm was closer. Because this one altered course, so yeah. If it would have gotten nasty, would have left. I'm not that's just being tortured. Wondering where the next thing's going to happen. So, I looked through what was available to watch. And there's a movie that I remember seeing the preview for. It's a war movie, otherwise I wouldn't bring it up. And I remember watching a preview for it. I never got around to seeing it. And I'm like, yeah, let's watch that. And the movie is Unbroken. So one about the pilot that gets captured by the Japanese or whatever. And man, I wasn't expecting the shipwreck scene to be that long. I'm like, holy shit. My daughter's like, if they're going to be out at sea the rest of the movie, I don't want to watch it. I don't blame her. But we didn't finish it. We still got like 50 minutes left. But yeah, that scene on the shipwreck was way too long. I was exhausted. I was dying of thirst. And then I realized today, one of the reasons that I like watching those kind of movies with my daughter is, first of all, she's willing to watch them. I don't really want to watch a movie. Hold on. Speak of the devil. If she's willing to watch them, I don't really want to watch them by myself. But the other thing, there's so much stuff on television that is woke and shit. And you don't have to worry about that in a World War II movie. Well, you shouldn't have to worry about it in a World War II movie. A couple of them come close, but you can just avoid all that nonsense. You could just go back to simpler times where you just punch Nazis. But I saw that on Netflix, the old Midway movie's available, the old one, the 1976 one. So I may watch that. I haven't seen that in a long time. I may watch that one again. I may watch that one again soon. I want to watch it with the daughter, but I might wait till she comes back another time to do that. She's had her hands full with people her age, but it's got to be better than a new one. That the new Midway movie came up on one of the Facebook groups. Somebody's comment about it. Somebody something like, it wasn't very good. It wasn't this. Somebody says, oh, it was just a bunch of xenophobic crap. I'm like, well, wait a second. Let's think about this. Let's think about this realistically. If you're going to make a World War II movie, and people were xenophobic back then, shouldn't they be portrayed as xenophobic in the movie also? I mean, if you're going to make a movie about the Japanese or whatever, and the Americans in that time period were worried about the Japanese doing something sinister, shouldn't that be portrayed in the movie to have the right, feeling? I mean, whether or not it was really bullshit or not? Anyhow. So I'm watching that Unbroken, and the people. Sorry if this is a spoiler alert. Movie's been out for 10 years, but there's one point where he gets captured. He gets captured by these guys, these Japanese guys. They have this uniform. It's really dark green. And I'm starting thinking, oh, those guys look like the special. And I'm not a Japanese uniform expert by any stretch of the imagination. Not yet, anyways. We're getting there. We're just a noob on the Pacific Front. At least land combat wise. And that looks like the Special Naval Landing Force uniforms, which are those figures that I have here. The Special Naval Landing Force guys the Japanese Marines, which is not actually correct. They're not really Japanese Marines. Japanese Marines makes it sound like there's some kind of elite organization. And these guys weren't elites. They were just, the Army and the Japanese Army and the Navy really distrusted each other. And these were guys that they were sailors that did land combat stuff. They weren't like, I don't think they had like, badass Marine training or anything like that. 10 viewers, holy shit. Friday night, man, you guys got to go out and do something fun, not sit here and look at some middle-aged person. Or listen to some middle-aged person. Crap, I'm middle-aged. When did that happen? Yeah, the pack is called Japanese Marines, but they're not really Marines. They're naval infantry. Anyways, they had a different uniform, and they had an anchor up here instead of the Or the Japanese have a yellow. I think they have a yellow star on their little caps and stuff. The Japanese army got a yellow anchor. You notice too that when looking at pictures on the web, more green tone of the uniform. Yeah, supposedly, but the Japanese uniforms in that movie, they're very, very green. So I suspect it's something really similar to like the German tunics. You know, this is the color they're supposed to be, and when they're getting the shit bombed out of them, you use whatever dyes you have available. Honestly, I think it adds a lot more personality than to just have everything just a uniform color. But I do that even with the Americans. I mean, like if you're looking at like the drab pants that the U.S. soldiers landed like on Normandy with, right? I think if you look, most people would agree you're supposed to use this U.S. field drab or something like that. I use flat earth. I use the other brown. You know, they're going to be, some are going to be brighter than others. You know, I mean, it can't be crazy. Like it shouldn't be yellow, but you know, there's some variations in it. Especially when you do all the up and down shading tones that I do, it all kind of blends together. I like how it looks. So. Special Naval Landing Force, yeah. But I'm just a noob when it comes to the Pacific, for now. Why? I haven't wargamed it. You learn a lot of stuff wargaming, or you should be if you're doing historical wargaming. That's a big part of it. I always said, you know, wargaming for me has always been about learning about stuff and then participating. Well, if you want to participate, you can do reenactments. I said, I'm not doing any reenactments in Florida in this freaking heat. I'll roll dice and play them on the tabletop. So anyways, you got the 3D printing stuff will be in sometime next week. A couple books probably in the following week. 3 books, actually, to be exact. 3 books that are going to be useful in the future when I want to look up stuff or when you guys have questions about orders of battles in different times. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to steal my own thunder on that one. We'll leave that be. But I did save a third of the price basically getting them used. So, I'll tell you what, after I go back to the Skytrex ones, I'm really not going to like how they look. Because these have a couple little subtle details that Skytrex ones don't have. Marcus, you ever have to work on the weekends? Are you on break other than having to make all the food? Do you do all the food or just breakfast? I don't cook for my family. I wouldn't want to put them through that. What'd they do wrong? What'd they do to deserve this? All the time. It's work I choose, though. Well, I'm glad you're willing to do it. Yeah, I can't do that. Once again, I help clean up. I do laundry. Not that. No, no, no. That's way too painstaking for me. I already got this. That you should make some of those like sponges. You know those sponges you had when a kid, and it was like they came in a capsule. It was like a fucking dinosaur or whatever, right? You put it in water. And same thing with food. Just put this in, put it in your stomach. Hey, hey, I don't feel anything. I'm good. You know, and you can move on. You go back to painting. No cleanup. You cook breakfast and dinners unless your wife is off for the bakery. She's an excellent cook. I'm okay. It sounds like you need to work at the bakery. That way somebody else can suffer your okay eating. And you can have good food at home. Or just keep doing what you're doing because it seems to work for you. Hey, whatever works for you. I'm just not, I'm used to not cooking. I came from a father figure I mean, my dad was, I had a much older dad. And he never cooked. I mean, it was just one of those things. You know, my mom never worked outside the home. It was just, it was just a different thing, you know? You like that? You like that suggestion, huh? I think I'd be good at it, honestly. Because for starters, I'm not one of those like somebody that like all they eat is macaroni and cheese. Like, do you really want somebody cooking your food that all they want to eat is macaroni and cheese? Like, guys got kind of a boring palate. And I've just gotten to the point where I don't want to go out to eat anywhere. It's expensive, and worse than that, it sucks. It used to be. It's just like what happened. Like, we're gonna make you pay more for. It's the game. Everything's the Games Workshop. The Games Workshop paint. We'll make it shittier and raise our prices. Like, what? You'll play on. Your daughter's in ninth grade, so life will change in about 4 years. Get out of the house. I got the daughter here. Well, she's been here since Sunday. So. And it's fine when she's doing schoolwork. When she's not doing schoolwork, it's like, what are we gonna do? And I don't want to do anything. I just got home from work. So one thing I need to tinker with is with this martyr. I figured I'd use the martyr because I'm not really losing anything. It's a model that I don't really need. It's an MMS model. I used to have only one of these, and it's been kind of superseded by the Plastic Soldier Company one. So I slopped some of this whitewash on here. And I think the problem with it is that I used a model that's not very good. I need to try the same thing on a better model. But then the problem is I might actually really like it. But I think it's got potential. I think that whitewash material there, that whitewash paint from AK has got potential. I just need next time I try it on something that doesn't have so many bubbles. The MMSs have a fair amount of bubbles on their resin. So we might try it on the next batch T34s that I do. I might try to do one. A snow one. I'm not ready to put snow on the base. I think that's a detail too far. But paint some snow camouflage when it starts, thawing. Even snow on the vehicle. Like if you put snow on the vehicle, like actual snow, it's not going to stay on there very long. It's certainly not going to be anywhere on the engine deck. And that'll just all melt. One of the advised the students to return. Well, she's supposed to find out tomorrow, but they're definitely going to be here Monday. They're not going to school for Monday, so I don't think anything happened to her actual dorm. I just think like access to it and the facilities and they probably don't have it's a flooding issue. Probably like it's difficult to like get the kitchen working and full order, that kind of stuff. I don't think anything happened to her stuff, or it's a relatively new building. I think it's 8 stories tall or something like that, so it's not huge or anything, so it's just kind of on a day-by-day basis, At least you're not somewhere in a hotel. But man, yesterday when I went to work, the interstate was crazy. Full of people. Everybody going back and trying to inspect their damage, and I love the shore, man, but I couldn't deal with that kind of worry every year. Because the insurance don't pay shit. You're gonna be up a creek and still have to go to work and try to resolve that stuff. You know what? We'll just drive 2 hours when we need to go to the beach. I don't think it even got very breezy here. Like I said, we didn't lose power here. It was looking bad at the beginning of the week, really bad, but and I really dislike that saying, a perfect storm. It makes it sound like it's a good thing. No, a perfect storm, it should be an imperfect storm, like it's the worst case scenario. Perfect storm and worst case scenario don't sound like the same thing. Sound like they should be the opposite of each other. Kind of the same way I feel about, hey, when's the next model meeting? Next Tuesday. See, I see next Tuesday is the next Tuesday that comes up. So like, if it's Wednesday, next Tuesday means the following Tuesday. The only way it wouldn't mean that is if you're either on the Tuesday or the next day is Tuesday, because you don't refer to next Saturday. Well, next Saturday isn't tomorrow. Next Saturday is the following Saturday. But next Sunday is the Sunday coming up. I don't know. That's the way. That's how I use it. I can't be retrained. Just like those people in England can't seem to drive on the right side of the road, I can't be retrained to think that a different way. If you have a problem with the way I say it, when everybody in the UK drives on the correct side of the road, then we'll talk. okay, this area looks good. You know, if I miss it, it's not a big deal. Like, this has already been sealed. I'm going over this. I don't know that I'm going to reseal it. Not that big of a deal. Don't bother me none. I think we're good. Let's do the turret. Yeah, there's definitely, the storm definitely kicked up some, I think some pollen, because I feel like I've had a scratchy throat all day, and now it's getting stronger. Hold on a second. Let me go take an Allegra. Right back. Claritin, not Allegra. Let's watch Tony do drugs. Drugs and coke. All right. So after I'm done with this, I'm gonna pull out my other T-34s and see exactly what I got left on a head count. Not necessarily that I'm gonna roll into them, tonight. I got cleanup I got to do with the Dremel on them. This hatch that's molded on here is oblong. The loader's hatch. And a little circle. Periscopes. Loader and the gunner get one. Ooh! That'll be fun. Lots of metal from what I understand. I've been taking inventory lately as well. Yeah, I have a few too many Model 40s. I think I started with like 8 of them. Of just the Model 40s. They only made 400 of them. They're actually, I think, probably the best looking one. But, and I am going to do one of those that has the snow with the little hash marks, even though I think it looks stupid. But sometimes you just got to do stupid stuff. Well, I pulled up the old V for Victory game that I had, and I still do. I just don't have a system that it plays on. I don't have a. Actually, this computer doesn't have a CD player. Anyways, it's not compatible with this. Anyways, it's a DOS game. So there's a place with that DOS box or whatever you could play it in. I don't know. I don't think you can save the game, so you're kind of screwed in that. But you could play it for free. All those V for Victory games, and in particular the Stalingrad one. And the Stalingrad one has the Wintergewitter scenario. So you can go in there and see all the units that are supposedly in that. You can see the Germans have the 6th Panzer and the 23rd Panzer. And the 17th is delayed. It comes a little later. They got one company of, I guess it'd be one company of Tigers. 502nd. And I worked on the Russian tank units as well. Go in and look at the counters. Okay, these are medium tanks, these are lights. And I started looking at some Russian buildings. I don't think I'm going to use those damn paper buildings. They're not worth the hassle. But I don't think I want to get Russian little houses for a village that are undamaged. I feel like every single Russian building should be damaged to some sort of other. You know, scorched earth. Okay, and then we need to paint the markings of that 306 brighter so they stand out. We use the same. You love that pattern. Gonna do one myself in the near future. You like that camouflage pattern with the hash marks in it? It doesn't look very good on paper. I bet I could probably make it look okay. The one I like is that gray one, that gray T34. That thing's beautiful. If you don't know which one I'm talking about, well, I'm about to show you. Oh, something else shipped. How does something ship and yet it's going to take over a week to get here? I think you just tell you that and it gets here sooner. Let me look at my gallery. I'm certainly I have this saved. Oh, we're gonna do one of our Model 41s like this with the markings on the roof. Where is this is a cool painting. I don't know where it's from. Well, it's from the internet. Got a BT7 there. I thought I saved the picture of it. Maybe it's on Pinterest. Alright, T30, it's probably easier to find. T34, 76, snow camel. Images. Yeah, you're talking about you like this. It doesn't look too bad there. I bet I could pull it off. You know, and this actually looks pretty good. That. I really don't want to introduce rust, and I feel like I almost have to with it being all white and green. But one step at a time. It's funny because one of the versions that I didn't like the most is the one that I actually like the most, and that is the Model 41 with the handrails, but with the all steel wheels. I know it's probably loud as shit. I don't know, just something about it looks really cool. Yeah, this version here. I like those all steel ones, and not because I don't want to paint the other ones. Where's that snow version? It freaking shows up everywhere. It's one in particular that I think that they got the colors wrong, but I'm going to paint it that way anyways, because it looks so badass. Yeah. Look at this. That looks badass. That looks really good. I don't have any steel rodeo ones. Hey, I bought whatever was available, you know? That looks pretty good. How do I get to my... How do I get my Pinterest? No, it's not the Model 42, it's the Model 41. I don't like using the German designation. T34A, T34B. No, I use the year seems like the way it is to do. Here's the Model 1941. Here it is. This looks beautiful. A tank can't be beautiful. Well, this one can. Come on, stop. I don't care about that. This one at the top here. That's absolutely beautiful. So I think what it is it looks bluish, but I think what it is it's white, and then there's some green left over, and they whitewashed over the green. So, we done with you yet, you commie bastard? Oh, we're gonna write the number on there. All right. Well, that works better using. We're going to use white. It works better to use something that's not white for the background. Let's get the vestiges of this color off the back there, because the bristles don't move correctly when they're loaded down with stuff in the way. Mr. Barnes, welcome back, man. Aircraft camo, yeah, and the Russians have some really nice aircraft. A lot of their planes are ugly, to be honest with you. I think almost all the Russian tanks are attractive in some way or another. Some of the Russian planes are not attractive. I generally don't like radial engine planes. I don't think they look as good as inline engine planes. So, some of those Lavochkins, I don't really like how they look. Doesn't mean I wouldn't build one. I'm just saying, you know. I mean, the Yak 9 looks pretty good. Yak 9's actually a really good looking plane. Okay, where is my fight? So, I've kind of given up on two things because they're more trouble than they're worth. And the things are the wet palette, and the other one is the flow aid. I don't think I need the flow aid for this. It was diluting the pigment a little too much and actually making it more difficult. So we just grab straight water. I don't even care if it's dirty a little bit. And just use that. And the thing about snow camouflage, if you do a crappy job on it, might actually be realistic, because most camouflage jobs look like shit. Snow camouflage, they do. Okay, this is 306. Let's get this the right consistency. Let's always do the lines towards myself. Okay, and then the same thing on the other side. Of course, this is really easy. Now all I got to do is just trace over it. Okay. That's done. All right, let's take a look at some T34s while these dry, because these guys are ready to go to the sealer. Now I'm going to go ahead and get them out of here. Yeah, I don't want to paint them like they're all part of one unit. That would be silly. All right, let's grab my T34 box. I think they're in a box. Nope. They're all over the place. All right, let's throw them in the box and see what we got. Really put it down on though. That's it. Not counting the one that I have in parts that I didn't own, that I basically got for free. I have an old T3485. I want to say by Eastern Express, but it's 1/72nd scale. I think I tried to salvage the paint job on it. I don't know that I could, so I got that one. I got a BP cast one that's missing running gear, the barrel, stuff like that. It might not be worth fixing. I don't know. And what else do I have? I may have one other one that's in parts. So those, I don't know if those are salvageable. But these are Skytrex Hinchcliffe. This is a model 1940. This is a model 1940. This is a model 1940. This is a model 1941. Ooh. This is a model 1942. I thought I was done with all those. Here's another model 1942, hexagonal turret. This is a 41. This is a 41. This is a 42. And this is a 40. Okay, so 4 of these, I have 3 of these, and this is just odds and bobs. All right, we're not going to worry about these right now. How many of these that I have 3 left have I already completed? I want to see. 3 or 4. 3 or 4. Let's see. 1, 2. Let's go ahead and pull them out. Because I'm going to need a black line. 1, 2. 3, 4. That's the Model 40 ones that I have. Oh, what's this one? 5. I have 5 of them. Plus 3 more. Okay. So I could make those 3 more, all 3 of those snow ones, or snowish ones. Snowish one. Ooh, these are crude. Yeah. They are what they are. These are Model 40s. Okay. 40s, I got too many of these. I got too many of these. This is the least, they only made 400 of these. Gotta go tonight, be up early if I'm on. I am, I'll be on. Okay, so let's black line all of these right here. Spruce them up. These already been sealed, doesn't matter. Now, one thing I do like about these, I don't have to put the headlamp on and stuff like that. Like, it's already molded on. And it's not an issue normally to attach it unless you get it from somebody who lost it before you ever got it. Make sure the little bit of detail that these have is noticeable. and I'm just paying these as they come. So if there's something that's irregular on these that the real model didn't have, well, then mine will also have that same thing, because I got these really cheap. And the biggest problem with these things, detail-wise, is the machine gun is actually melted onto the actual hull. So it's got it's got the barrel that comes out of it, and then there's a piece of flash that goes from the barrel all the way to the hull. That's fine if you're doing micro armor, but on something like this, it's pretty significant. So I have to take the Dremel to that. That's why I have to clean them up with the Dremel in the garage. But a Dremel at low speed, I should say. It's either that or a lot of elbow grease with an X-Acto knife. Which I'm pretty sure is how I did these. Pat Sparks, welcome. How you doing, man? Just doing a refurb on these T-34s. Just give them a little bit of TLC. You down with TLC? Yeah, you know me. Okay. Now the turret. Happy Friday, there you go. Now it's Happy Friday. Somebody might be watching it's on that Mitch schedule, where they have weird days the week off. I don't like being off on those weird days, because it makes me realize how many people are out there retired. And I'm getting jealous. Inspired you to do white stripes on T-34s. There you go. It came out really well. Like really, really well. I think doing stuff and sketching everything really is helpful. And actually, I didn't do any cleanup. I didn't do any trick cleanup with the green, I don't think. I tried to do it neat enough that there isn't any cleanup. But, sometimes, nature has other plans, but That's what I'm here for, man. Hopefully inspiring you guys. Other people inspire me too, you know. That's a good thing. You know, I do a really bad job of watching other people's videos, just because, you know, when am I going to watch them? And one of the ones I've been watching a long time is a guy that does that fake race with the Matchbox cars. He just dropped a bunch of things recently, and I'm like, oh, I remember to watch this, and I don't. I forget. He does some amazing video stuff, but he can't paint. But he does some amazing video stuff. I can't do amazing video stuff. That's not my forte. All right. See, I bragged about not having to do cleanup. I got to do cleanup. Let's use this one. It's a little bit of spit. It should be fine. Or not. Yeah, just a little bit. Like when the white is semi-transparent, looks hand done. Looks more realistic. We have a 980 schedule. Oh no, you're gonna make me do weekend math. So I have every other Friday off work. I've been modeling all day today. You know, I can't think of anything better to do, you know? I mean, unless you get angry, which it shouldn't do you. It should be like, you know, like all zen and shit, you know? $9.80. So 80 hours, 9 days a week. What's that average have to be? Yeah, it's weekend math. I can't do it. I don't care to. I can with paper. 80 divided by 9. Oh, 8.88 hour days? Even 10-hour days aren't a problem. Even long hour days aren't a problem. The problem is it comes out of your free time. So, like, you know, you should have a certain amount, X number of hours off. Like if you work a 12-hour day, you know, you shouldn't have 12 hours off. You should have, you know, 16 or whatever it is, and you come back again at a different time. Because you got stuff that you got to do when you got to take care of when you're not at work. When the hell are you going to do it if you're at work all the time? What I don't sit around and watch television. Television's just not worth watching. You know, if I didn't have anything better to do, I'd probably do a recap video of the last 2 years, what I've gotten done. Ever since I stopped painting, you know what? Because I feel like I've gotten a lot done. Yeah. Oh, it looks significantly better. And this is a really basic model. It looks significantly better. You know, it just adds some contrast. Yeah, the problem with these is you've got that flap of metal that's relatively thick, that is the thickness of the machine gun, and it goes all the way to this front glacis, or glacis. Should I do something crazy? Yeah, let's do it. I hope I hate this. This Tamiya panel line. It's already got a clear coat on it. Hold on a second. I don't like it. It's too wet. Okay, good. It's the first time I tried it. Way too watery. And I can't control that. Okay, so good. I actually bought that and I didn't know it was an enamel product. Like, why would something to me be enamel? You know, doesn't make sense to me. Well, wonder no more. So they only made 400 of this model. And then they shifted over to basically this one. And there's different variations of this particular model. The biggest difference is that it's got a better gun. It's got the F-34 gun instead of the L-11. And you say L-11, you start thinking, oh, it's 11 caliber? No, it's somewhere in the 20s caliber. But this has a higher velocity, 76 millimeter gun. The same gun that is in what became to be called the Crash Boom. 76.2 millimeter field gun. I think it is. Maybe it isn't. Yeah, that's a 76.2 millimeter by 39. I think this one's actually a little bit longer. Well, it might be one of those things that it's damn near the equivalent of it, just like the PAC-40 isn't exactly the same gun that's in the Mark IVs. And the late Mark IVs is not the same PAC-40. I mean, it is, it almost is, but it isn't. That's one of the things that I found out recently, that the brass on the anti-tank gun is significantly larger than the brass on the tank gun and on the late Mark IVs. You know, the gun's an L-46 and the one in the tank's an L-48. So the tank gun's a little bit longer, but the charge that the anti-tank gun has is got more juice behind it. And they shrank the size of the brass to make more rounds fit inside. I didn't know that. I thought it was exactly the same gun. So it's equivalent, but this gun of this early, the L-11, it wasn't in any kind of field piece. Because you have infantry guns that are much smaller, much shorter, and then this one's longer, so that never went in anything other than in that tank. And the KVs, some of the early KVs had that same gun as well. The KV model 1939, I know those for sure had the L-11. And some of those didn't even have a whole machine gun, so you got a KV with no whole machine gun. But those are going to be like the ones that they went up against Finland and stuff like that. working on an SDKFZ 251D and a late war Panzer III. I gotta do my German half tracks. They're just kind of teetering there. I want to paint up some of those old Airfix figures and see how they look. Just a few, not a ton of them, just a few. I know it depends on the Airfix figures. Well, some of them are pretty good. The Desert Rats and the African Corps are good figures. So this is Nuln Oil. I got a other new Nuln Oil. This is the kind they don't make anymore. They don't make this big bottle anymore. Now they make a smaller, and the formula is a little bit different. And I also have the dark tone. So we got plenty of this stuff. Plus I can make it if I wanted to, but I don't mind subbing some of this stuff out. Delegate or constipate. Yeah, but you gotta make the Soviet stuff interesting. But I got some 3D printed stuff coming within a week that I've never ordered from this person before. So we'll see how it goes. We'll do an unboxing on it. I even told him I was doing an unboxing on the stuff. And he didn't give me nothing free, he didn't give me a discount. I don't want him to give me a discount. I just want to be able to order some of this stuff, some of these beautiful things you see, and it doesn't come from the United Kingdom, where, you know, the shipping is a killer. But I do not want to get into 3D printing. Let's say I got into 3D printing, right? So it's good. It could save me some money, right? But I might be doing 3D printing stuff now and not painting. So like it's going to slow down my painting process. So that doesn't make any sense to me. You need to sub that to somebody else. Besides, the painting provides the therapy I need. The 3D printing process would just end up needing more therapy. Tony, the tanks you're painting now, are they metal? They are. That you showed in one of our haul videos? Yes. This is the Tankograd video. Yeah, these are the ones that I got from an estate sale. That's why I have so many of them. The bag kits I scored, yes. I got like 35 tanks in one video. This is them. Yes. And they're, you know, they're not modern technology, but I'm like, okay, first of all, I went to a show and there was actually something in the scale that I want to buy. Okay, that was amazing. And they were really inexpensive because they wanted to unload them because nobody does this scale. And it was, you know, like the people were selling was like their brother or something like that had passed away. And at first I started with only buying some of them, and then I just talked myself into just getting a whole lot. Because the thing about getting the whole lot is I don't have to worry about which paint scheme. Like if you only get two T34s, you could cogitate about which paint schemes you're going to have. If you get them all, you can do all the paint schemes. You don't have to worry about it, you know. So it's like peace of mind. So I ended up at the end of the day paying maybe $4 or $5 for each one of these. I mean, yeah, they're not the best stuff out there, but they'll paint up well. And I really do get a kick out of painting stuff that other people dismiss and make it look really worthy. You know, it gets to a point where if I have to do too much work, it's not fair to me. But I mean, there is something empowering about taking something that other people would consider junk and making it look not junky. You know, so just give it some TLC. You know, I would have preferred if these were in 1/72nd scale. They're 1/76th, but you know what? They're all 1/76th. So I got a bunch of T35s that I got in 1/87th scale. Oh, they're too small. They were $1 a piece. Like, how can I not buy them? You know? How can I not buy them? You know, if they piss me off, I'll sell them off to somebody for, I don't know, $4 a piece or something, if I really want to, and then buy them in the right scale. But I'm perfectly happy with them. They're just a plain piece. And there's some of the larger tags. So they still look okay to my eye. And that's really what's important to me. Am I happy with it? Because if I'm not, well, I'm going to fail a morale check and not paint anymore. But if they're good enough for me, you'll see more painted stuff from me, you know? Yeah, if I wouldn't have bought that, somebody would have, they either wouldn't have sold them, they would have given away, and you guys wouldn't have seen them being painted. So, yeah, it was a hell of a score. Unfortunately, somebody had to pass away for it, so I didn't know the person. I'd rather them be alive. I don't really need these, you know, but I've enjoyed working on them. I've enjoyed, I could take risks when I have this many. I could be like, yeah, let's slop some paint on some of them. The problem is they're always turning out well. I guess that's a good problem to have, but and I don't mind putting them together if it was a model kit. I don't mind putting models together. It's therapeutic. Now I've got some T26s that may not be so therapeutic putting them together because they're a pain in the ass. I'll have to go back to doing those, but mainly because of the instructions and all the. I don't like glue and photo etch. I can work with it. It's not. I think it's pretty durable. It's a lot more durable than some of these other things that I do, but you know. The Greg just finished mowing, and I've got some spare time to watch before cleaning up. You're watching me dirty? You savage. Mowing. There's something I don't do at this house. It's got too much yard. And I'm not buying a riding lawnmower for the privilege of mowing a lawn. It's like, if I used a push mower that I've always used, it'd take me like my whole Saturday, every other Saturday. I'm like, no, you got to pay somebody to do that. Yeah, riding lawnmowers are like $3,000 or $4,000 used. Like, no. But I've always mowed my lawn. Just now I don't. Got too much property here on my plantation. I guess technically you have to plant things to have a plantation, don't you? I don't have one then. I don't plant anything. But we do have some surprises that'll probably happen in about a week. I'll have a full unboxing on it. Trust me. That's too exciting to keep to myself. And hopefully the material is strong-ish. Hopefully it's not super delicate. Who's a dirty boy? There you go. Actually, your real reason to come on here is you wanted to see if Jared was on here and he'd say other more nice things about you. Sometimes you just need to call it quits. Oh man. I'm glad you guys are getting a good showing of that game out there. It's hard to hear people in America to be consistent about what they show up to play. I just don't want to play something that's determined that my happiness or success is depending on how many people show up to play it. That's just really frustrating to put all that effort into something and then people just are too lazy to show up. I don't mean my 3 or 4 people from my local group don't count. I'm talking about, the other people. If all you're going to get is people from your local group, why even go to a show and put a show on, right? Just play with your local group. With a ride on, at least you can drink beer while mowing. So I've always heard that people have a beer when they're mowing the lawn. And I never did, because, I don't even game and really drink. I don't even really drink, which is a shame, because I'm a lot more fun. So one day, a couple of years ago, I decided to have a beer while I was mowing the lawn. And then I had a second one, and then it was like fun. But yeah, beer dehydrates me very fast. And I don't want to do anything. I get bad headaches when I get dehydrated, so it's not really a good mix. But I did see why people like to do that. But yeah, because usually if I'm hot, if I'm doing like work, the last thing I want to do is have a beer. Not exactly thirst quenching. I don't do well with a beer late at night. I wake up with calling it a hangover is wrong. I wake up with a headache that just won't go away for like 12, 16 hours. So if I'm drinking at night, whiskey. That damn carbonation does me in the beer. So with this many T-34s, I probably should do something with snow pattern. I just don't want to do troops with snow on the base, because that's going into another realm. Okay, those two are done, right? Yeah, this should be more noticeable. Oh, there's 5 of these? Damn me. Aussie ride-ons come with bottle holders. Lorraine's a single malt girl. There you go. She knows what's up. It is an acquired taste, though, and I've acquired it. I'll be right back. All right. I've been told that they want my attention at 9, so 35 more minutes to get these commie bastards done. Yeah, the problem is dealing with that machine gun. All these were cut off by hand. That was exhausting. So, since I've got one of those Dremels that my underused Dremel, I have not used it a whole lot. So I'm always looking for ways of using it. It's got a foot pedal. You can really go down to a crawl. So I use that to to grind the other ones off, and it was a lot easier. But the problem with stuff like that is, it's going to spew so much shavings. You got to do it in the garage, and if you're going to do it in the garage, you got to do it, when you got to kind of plan it. Like, I don't want to take a shower when I get home from work and then do that. It's kind of silly. Yeah, I was really pleased in numbers at Moab. Good fun. Well, the problem is that the more people you have playing a tournament, the more likely you're not going to like one of the players. I saw Mark wearing one of the events. They still haven't released the new version yet, huh? In the 2 years since I haven't played, they haven't released the new thing that they're working on. Mitch asked me the other day, "Hey, we're thinking about going to Historicon. You want to go?" I said, "No. I don't think I'm ever going to go again. It's just too many days off. It's just not a good value, you know? It's okay if you're like promoting something, but just to go to hang out, look at products, most of the stuff's not in a scale that I do. lot of people live really close to Historicon and then don't go. Why should I drive 15 hours if somebody can't go too? So, just takes too many of my vacation days, and that's really the cost, not the actual cost of being there, because it's not like it's not fun, you know. But an arsehole free zone, Mark certainly did, and with a warband heavy army. Wow, that's just kudos to him. I have zero confidence in warband. You get all kinds of weird comments from people that just aren't very familiar with the game. You get guys like, you know, I remember this one guy that posted this, like, I got a bow heavy army. I don't know how anybody could ever win a game with them. I'm like, well, just because you don't know how to use bow, all you got to do is take one guy to rape you one time with a bunch of bows, and then you'd be like, you know, these things are pretty cool, and the guy took no risks. That looks like fun. I can't wait to do that to somebody else. But, you know, there's a lot of people that are just never going to play DVA, no matter how good you present it. Just like I'm never going to play bolt action. I don't care how good you think it is. I'm never going to play bolt action. It's not a game for me. You know, or Flames of War. Well, most gamers are nomadic. They don't go and play something for 18 years or whatever. But I went to this last convention. I only played in one game. It was a Car Wars type game. I hadn't played a game face to face with anybody in 6 months. I didn't miss it. And it's only because, you know, I find other ways to socialize. I don't necessarily have to socialize playing a game. It's way too much work where it's not worth it for me to even try to work a game in during the week. What's after the T-34s? Oh, I don't know. Maybe more T-34s? Depends on when those 3D printed vehicles come in. And yes, there's stuff for the desert there. Not a whole lot, but there's some desert stuff. So this guy, I found a 3D printer that has access to a lot of different 3D designer stuff. Like, he's just the printer. But he prints in resin, and he prints in the United States. So I'm not paying $30 plus for shipping. So what I did is I ordered, like, he has access to like 7 or 8 different designers. And he's mainly a 1/56 scale printer. And I contacted him and said, hey, do you do stuff in 20? Yeah, I can do whatever scale you want. I said, okay. Well, he's like, send me what you want, I'll get you a quote. So I looked through all the designs that he had, and I got at least one 3D print from like 5 different designers. So I can see them in person, like, okay, this one's better than this one, so if they both have the same vehicle, I'll get it from this one, type of thing. You know? And some vehicles are actually really difficult to find. Like, one of the vehicles that's really difficult to find is a Matilda, and I'm talking about a Matilda 2. Figures of War is for intent and purpose. For intent and purposes as dead as a tournament game. Is it? I love their website, but I don't want to see, you know, when you see my vehicles touching, they really are touching. It's all actual scale, so, you know. So we'll see how these different designers stack up against each other. And I told them I'm doing an unboxing on your thing, so don't send me stuff that's broken. But we'll see how it goes. Pricing on is pretty fair. The pricing on is enough that if I'm happy with the results, we'll definitely be doing business with them again. Might turn around and put another order in as soon as I get it. You know, so especially since almost all the vehicles I got, I would want more of the same ones. So, you know, if the Matilda works out, I'm going to want 3 more Matildas, you know. So, and no, I'm not getting any Italian tanks with kangaroos on them. Sorry, I don't do captured vehicles. I'm not a fan of captured vehicles. Don't see it all in Australia. Lots of Flames of War items at the Moab bring 'em by. Well, a lot of people are just nomadic. They're like, oh, they're buy all this stuff. And you know, the thing is if you don't create things, if you don't like spend your time painting your own stuff, if you buy stuff and then sell it and then make even if you don't make any money, you got to play with it for free. I can't do that. I can't just like piss away the hours and stuff that I do on it. But I'm doing this for therapy anyways. You know, so I don't turn into an alcoholic. I got to drink a lot more to be even remotely an alcoholic. But the problem is somebody says, hey, I'm going to try to lose weight, so I'm going to cut out drinking. I don't drink any at all, basically, to cut out. So now it comes out of my food now, damn it. Not able to get Matildas from Airfix. So they're not an affordable price, and they're 1/76 scale. And they're old looking. So, you know, the old SU ones would have been fine, but they want like $30 for one of them by the time you factor in shipping. It just doesn't make sense. So we got one coming that's a lot less than $30. I'm not opposed to building. It has nothing to do with it. I don't want to build with 500 road wheels. I got no problem with that. Come on, you got to be excited about me doing counter. The counter scheme. There's some amazing stuff there's just some amazing stuff that's going to happen in the next year. No doubt about it. So if this guy comes through, we're going to be putting his ass to work. I'm just not going to order a shitload at once, because you order a shitload at once, I just get like overwhelmed. Like, I got too many decisions to make, so I make none of them. You know, it's like, nah, that doesn't work for me. M10s. M10s are almost impossible to find. You know, remember, affordable. Affordable is important. Like I can go and order UM kits, but the UM kits are like $30 a piece. I want four of them, $120, and that's just not intelligent. You know, that's not smart. So M10s are hard to find. M18s are hard to find. Um, like unless you 3D print them. Plastic Soldier Company, if they make it, it's not hard to find, but it's got to be the right version of something that they make. Like they make, and this is one thing that annoys me about 20 millimeter. Like they make, I could be wrong on this, but their A9 set for their cruiser tank in 15 millimeter, you can make two versions of the A9 and two versions of the A10, I believe. And if you get the 20 millimeter one, you can't get the A10 out of it. It's great. Now I gotta find the A10 somewhere else. You know. Plus, it's gotta be the right version that was in the desert, because it looked a little different with bases and stuff like that. I mean, you could probably put one of the other ones, and nobody would know unless, but you know, I know. So, you know. Well, that was loud. Whatever the hell that was. Noisy girls. Okay, and this one's done. We should be able to get them all done. If not, it'll be something to do in the morning. No big deal. Love the counter scheme. Mower has cooled down, so off to clean up. Been good talking to you. See you next time. Yeah. Well, the thing about the counter is, I wasn't aware of this. That, and I know why they do stuff like this, but it's not any fun as somebody who's creative. Stuff like the counter scheme, like all the vehicles are painted the same way. So like if it's a cruiser tank, they all have this split in the same place. If you're going to do it, you know, realistically. Now, I have heard, or I have seen versions that there's different patterns of it. Like there's a website that I found that has this Excel sheet. Well, it's a PDF because it's not modifiable, but it's a PDF that breaks down like a bunch of British tank names. And it'll tell you what the name is and what tank it went to and the serial number. Sometimes it has all this information. Sometimes some of it is missing. The serial number of the tank, what the paint scheme was, whether it was in North Africa or the Middle East or Northwest Europe or whatever, and so forth, or any other documentation and stuff like that. And with the counter schemes, it actually say counter A, B, C, D, or whatever on some of them. So there's multiple counter schemes, just like, you know, oh look, the first Tuft that ever fell off. With aircraft, when I was looking at painting the Spitfire, and I was going to basically doing a Battle of Britain pattern for a Spitfire. They had two versions of, they didn't put the green and the brown wherever the hell they wanted to. There was like set places to put it on there. So I didn't know that. Well, that's not a whole lot of fun from a wargaming aspect. The bolt action stuff look like caricatures, and that doesn't appeal to me. Yeah. Well, the game's worse. I don't like a figure that's this tall, but only shoots this far. That's like, what is this, BattleTech? You know, I mean, you're this tall, but your grenade only goes this distance. You know, you got a one-room house that you break into, and you can't throw the grenade across the room. Like, there's an incongruency that I like. What you see is what you get. You know, but I'm not trying to play in a tournament. I don't care if other people don't like that. You know, I don't have to please anybody. You know, it's what I want to do, and it's what gives me the juice to keep going to create all this stuff. If I was going to play some generic ass game, I probably wouldn't be doing this because that doesn't appeal to me. If I was playing rapid fire, I wouldn't go into all this detail of making each tank look differently. It's just the game doesn't merit that, in my opinion. So, yeah, if you enjoy playing a certain rule set, well, good for you. But I need stuff that's going to encourage me and keep me motivated to put the kind of attention and detail into it that I'm doing, because I really don't want to skimp on that. You know, I'm not going to be like, oh, this game doesn't have that detail. Let me dip figures. Like, I'm not going to do that, you know. And if you don't want to put that kind of detail in your vehicles, you don't have to. I'm not going to, poo-poo you. I know somebody was just asking me. They said, hey, I'm going to order these vehicles, and I found a guy to get them from, and they're pre-painted. And he showed me some of the pictures of what they're pre-painted. He's like, what can I do to make them look better easily? I'm like, so I gave him a bunch of tips. I can buy pre-painted stuff, and and do some of this. Give them a brown wash. Do some dry brushing in the bait. You could doctor them up and give them some panache. Or just leave them how they are. It's whatever you're happy with. I got a set of rules that I'm pretty happy with this. And if I run into something, I haven't run into it yet, that I don't like in them, then I don't want to play them a different way, then I'm going to play them a different way. It'll be, based on what I think reality is, And hopefully I don't encounter that. And this is really forgiving. You forget to do this, you find a spot later, okay, so wash it later. No big deal. This should be therapeutic, not a pain in the ass, and wish you were never born or picked a different hobby. I wish I'd never built this thing before, I've seen people in certain hobbies, it makes them mad as hell. It's like, man, you need to find another hobby, man. Hobbies don't pay enough for them to piss you off. Unless that's your fetish. What's your fetish? I like getting pissed off at things. Not me. So the fact that I'm doing this acrylic, I don't ever have to worry about this eating any of the other paint. It's not going to react with any of it. You know, you'll do you, comrade. Looking for inspiration on a half track in German gray. Maybe a dusting of snow. Sometimes gets stuck after the basic colors coats are down. Well, um, the problem with the German half track in gray, and I prefer German vehicles in gray. I really do. They just look more German to me. You know what I read recently? I came across, I don't know whether it's true or not, why the Germans painted their stuff in gray. And it's for photography. They would, like, you know, aerial photos or in black and white, and they would blend in better. Like, I never thought about that. I just thought they looked cool. You know, it matches their uniforms, you know. Well, what do I know, you know? But that's apparently what it is. The problem I have with German half tracks is their numbering. Because sometimes, if you look at German half tracks, if you look at German tanks, they always have numbers. Always. You have a hard time finding a German vehicle that doesn't have numbers on it. And you have a hard time finding German vehicles that doesn't have 3 numbers. Sometimes they have 1 or 2. I honestly don't like the German vehicles have only 1 or 2. Because when it's 1, it's like the company, right? So if you're like, and I think that's more common in North Africa. So you'll have a bunch of Panzer IIIs that'll have a 4 on it. No, I'm sorry. A bunch of Panzer IVs will have just a single 4 on it. That's why, well, they're all 4th company. Like, yeah, but I don't want to paint them all with the same damn number, so that doesn't work for me. Not always, but in certain examples, they're used that way. But German half tracks sometimes don't have any numbers at all. Sometimes they have 1 or 3 or something like that. Because, you know, in the Panzer Division, the half-track infantry was supposed to be all, in theory, on half-tracks. And then, you know, they had to mechanize everybody, and they came to the realization, all right, well, we'll do 1 of the 2 battalions in the Panzer Division, half-track, and the other one's motorized on trucks. But then, you know, they couldn't even get to that half at some point. And they built a lot of the Germans built a lot of half tracks, but you got to build a lot of half tracks to motorize, you know, everybody. So I've done only a few German half tracks. I've got 3 gray ones to do, and I personally am not going to do snow until I got everything else done. Because it's just opening up another can of worms. And a lot of the snow stuff, when you do it right, it should look like shit. And the problem is to an untrained eye, you know, shit looks like shit, so they think you did a crappy job. And then, you know, you kind of talk yourself into it as well, you know. But you know, like, this looks like crap, but it's probably realistic. You know, I just need to doctor it up some more. Put it on a base, and I think it'll probably be okay. You know, but I got 1 left to go. Can I get it done? No, I'm gonna stop there. I told him it was 9. I don't want to run late, so we'll be back in the morning. Maybe you'll motivate me. Maybe you'll motivate me, and I'll finish my 3 gray German half tracks, and we'll do that in the morning. You available in the morning? Maybe we can do that tomorrow morning. If you are, we'll do that together. It's a date.